Kafui had always been the kind of woman who drew attention without trying. Her beauty was undeniable, but there was something deeper about her. A quiet grace that made people look twice, not just because of her appearance, but because of the aura she carried. She was new to the town, a mystery, and soon enough, her name was on the lips of every man and woman. Adam was a successful young entrepreneur in his early 30s. Noticed her the moment she stepped into the town. His ambition in business was matched only by his confidence in life, and he had never shied away from a challenge. Kafui was no exception. From the moment their eyes met, Adam determined to make her his. He pursued her with an intensity she hadn't expected. Flowers, dinners, and sweet words that made her heart race. To Kafui, Adam was everything a young woman could want. Young, handsome, successful, but there was a restlessness in her that even his charm couldn't quiet. She enjoyed his company, but kept a piece of herself hidden. Behind her smiles was a woman who had known heartbreak, a woman who had left behind the past too painful to remember. Yet Adam, unaware of this hidden pain, believed that time would bring her closer to him. But fate had other plans. Salem, Adam's father, was a man who had known love and loss, widowed for years. He had buried himself in work, building a business empire that would one day be his son's. At 55, Salem was well respected in town, a man of wisdom and honor. He had raised Adam alone, teaching him everything he knew about life, work, and loyalty. One evening, as the sun set over the town, Salem found himself at a quiet cafe. He had gone there to clear his mind, to escape the pressure of work for a while. But as he sat there, sipping his coffee, Kafui walked in. The air shifted when she entered the room, and Salem felt it immediately. He had heard Adam speak of her before, this mysterious woman who had captured his son's heart. He hadn't given much thought to it until very moment their eyes met across the room, and something stirred within him, something he hadn't felt in decades. Kafui too noticed Salem. Though she had no idea who he was at first, there was something about him, his quiet strength, his calm demeanor that drew her in. As fate would have it, they ended up sitting next to each other, making small talks. What started as polite conversation soon turned into something deeper. Kafui found herself drawn to Salem's wisdom, his maturity, and the way he seemed to understand her in ways Adam hadn't. Salem, in turn, found himself captivated. Kafui awakened a part of him that had long been dormant. He hadn't intended to feel this way, especially about the woman his son was courting. But the heart, as they say, wants what it wants. Neither Salem nor Kafui intended for things to go further, but their connection was undeniable. They began meeting in secret, talking for hours about life, love, and everything in between. Kafui felt safe with Salem in a way she had never had with Adam. He wasn't just a man interested in her beauty. He saw her soul, her pain, and her fears. But with each passing day, Kafui's heart grew heavier. She knew the path they were on would lead to disaster, but she couldn't stop herself. She had tried to push Salem away, to focus on Adam, but her feelings for his father were stronger than she had ever imagined. Salem too was conflicted. He loved his son dearly and knew that what he was doing was a betrayal. Yet, every time he saw Kafui, every time they spoke, he felt alive again. For the first time in years, he wasn't just a father or a businessman. He was a man in love. One evening, Adam invited Kafui to a family dinner. He had been planning to introduce her to his father formally, unaware that they had already met. The air was tense as Kafui walked into Salem's home, knowing that the night would be unbearable. As the evening unfolded, Kafui found it harder to hide her emotions. Salem too struggled to maintain his composure. It wasn't until the end of the evening, after the plates were cleared and the wine was poured, that the truth began to surface. Adam noticed the tension between his father and Kafui, grew suspicious. He had always trusted his father completely, but something about the way they looked at each other made his stomach twist. After Kafui excused herself to the garden for some air, Adam followed, hoping to talk to her about the future. But as he approached, he saw something he would never forget. His father, standing close to Kafui, his hand gently touching her arm. Their eyes locked in a way that made Adam's blood run cold. "Dad!" Adam's voice broke through the silence like a blade. Both Salem and Kafui turned, their faces pale with shock. "What's going on here?" Adam demanded, his voice filled with disbelief. Salem, normally so composed, struggled to find words. "Adam, I can explain." But the explanation wasn't needed. Adam's heart shattered in that moment. As the pieces of the puzzle came together, his father, the man he had admired his entire life, was in love with the woman he had planned to marry. Kafui teared down. Her face whispered, "Adam, I never meant to hurt you." The days that followed were filled with silence and anger. Adam moved out of his father's house, refusing to speak to either of them. The once unbreakable bond between father and son was now in ruins. Salem, guilt-ridden and broken, tried to reach out to Adam, but his calls went unanswered. Kafui, realizing that her presence had destroyed the lives of two men she cared for deeply, made a painful decision. She left town without a word, leaving behind only a note for both Salem and Adam. In the note, she apologized for the pain she had caused, explaining that she had loved them both in different ways but could not stay in place where she had caused so much destruction. Sometimes, she wrote, "Love is not enough." In the months that followed, Salem and Adam struggled to rebuild their lives. The love they had both sought had torn them apart. Salem, once a man of pride and honor, now carried the weight of betrayal. Adam, once full of ambition and confidence, was left questioning everything he thought he knew about love and trust. The lesson was a harsh one. Love, when mixed with secrecy and betrayal, can destroy even the strongest of bonds. Both father and son learned that some wounds could never be fully healed, and that sometimes the cost of love is far greater than the heart can bear. In the end, they realized that while love can be powerful, it can also be destructive when pursued without care. The damage left, broken hearts, and shattered relationships was a reminder that love, when sought selfishly, comes with a price. Please subscribe to my channel. Thank you so much for doing so. Bye.